Hello, it's Bailey, and I'm ready for Bookoplathon this round. It is like 3 p.m. my time zone right now, and the readathon starts at 7 p.m. here, so in about 4 hours. But I have had time to prepare, and so I just want to kind of tell you my plans going into it so that when the start time rolls around, I can just go ahead and get started and not worry about giving you guys the update. If you're not familiar with Bookoplathon, it's hosted by Becca and the Books. I will link her down below. I'll probably just go ahead and link the announcement for this round, but I have participated in every round before. The first 48-hour round, I didn't have my channel yet, but I actually started my channel with videos revolving around the month-long round in September, and I actually met a lot of my best booktube friends through that readathon, so I'm excited to be doing it again. Some of my friends are doing it again with me, some aren't, but I just honestly hold a special place in my heart for this readathon. So let's get into my plans. If you haven't seen, she did announce the first two roles in advance. So we know what the first two prompts are. I am not going to be trying to read a book for each prompt. I'm going to be trying to read a book each roll drop. So I'm going to be trying to read 4 books in the 48 hours. I am going to try to pick one book that fits both prompts of the roll. We'll see if that's possible. Some of them, if it's a genre, it could be like 2 completely separate genres. But the first one, it works. I can pick one book for. And so the first 2 rolls were dark cover and fantasy. And so I just finally decided, I've been going back and forth what I wanted to read for this for like 3 days now, and I couldn't decide, but I think I'm gonna go with Kiss of a Demon King by Kresley Cole. This is the 6th book in the Immortals After Dark series. The reason I hesitate to do this one at all is because it is 417 pages long. So being ambitious right off the jump, but I'll let you know how I'm gonna be going a little bit easy on myself going forward. Not necessarily though, I have no control over what the next roles are gonna be. But since the roles were announced in advance, I didn't want to cheat. I want to push myself. There's no wrong way to do this. You could have started 100 books and picked from that and finished 10 pages, whatever you want to do. But just for me and how challenging, I guess, I want to make the readathon for myself, I decided I didn't want to use anything I had already started for these first prompts. I just feel like you could have read it and, like I said, left 10 pages to finish and considered it completed. That's not what I wanted to do, so I wanted to read a whole book. So I have held off starting this just for this. So I'm really just anxious to know what the next roles are gonna be, but I know first things first, I need to jump in at 7 p.m. tonight and start getting through this because it's gonna take me a while. I don't necessarily want to finish this by the second roll drop. I'd like to finish fairly close to that, so I am gonna try to stay up a little bit later than normal. I go to bed at like 8 p.m., 9 p.m. I'm gonna try to make it to 11 tonight, and I'll probably wake up at 6 a.m. I am thinking this is gonna take me about 6 hours of like physical reading time to read, so we'll see how we do. I might be starting off behind tomorrow, but that's fine. Also, tomorrow's my birthday, so I'll be turning 24 tomorrow, but I have no plans. We purposefully celebrated last weekend. Chris is actually working tomorrow, so I booked my whole weekend for this.
This is how, is it called This Is How We Lose the Time War? Is that kind of like that?
Yeah, that's super time travel. It's like almost hard to follow time travel.
Good morning. It is 5 a.m. now, like 5:13 now. But I only made it till 10 o'clock last night, and I made it to page 115. So I really need to sit down now and get to it. I'm definitely not going to be taking any breaks until I finish this at least. There's no way I'm going to finish this in 2 hours. This is probably going to take me till like noon to finish at this rate, so we'll see. I am enjoying it. This is the 6th book in a series, and the series has been hit or miss for me, and I think this is going to be one that works for me, so that's hopeful. So Chris just left for work. It is now 7 a.m. I'm about to get the next roll drops, and then I'm probably going to migrate downstairs for a little while. Depending what the prompts are, I may start the next book and come back to Kiss of a Demon King, or I might try to finish Kiss of a Demon King before I move on. That's all going to depend on what my next book ends up being, I guess. Okay, I got the prompts and I'm very excited, to be honest. The prompts were POC rep and contemporary, so I am trying to combine the two every roll drop. So I'm going to be reading Act Your Age Eve Brown, and I'm actually going to start this right away and come back to Kiss of a Demon King because Nessa is actually going to start this also for the prompts, so hopefully we can read it kind of together, and then I'll go back to my first book. So yeah, I'm excited to get to read this today on my birthday. I didn't even mention that earlier when I woke up and was just like, it's 5 a.m. It is my birthday and I'm officially 24 and I get to read this beautiful book today. I'm literally having the best day reading Act Your Age Eve Brown, and I'm like right at halfway now, but I've been messaging Nessa throughout, like just how we're thinking she's a little bit ahead of me, but that's nice for me because I can message her and she automatically knows what I'm talking about. I don't have to wait for her. But I think we've both decided that this is our favorite one in the series so far. If you don't know what Eve Brown is about, it's basically Eve is the youngest sibling of the Brown sisters. This is the final book. And she's getting cut off from their parents' trust fund because they want her to like take life more seriously and like get a job, do something for herself before she's just like handed all this money and can just kind of do whatever she wants. So she ends up like strolling up on this bed and breakfast and applying to be the chef. And the guy who owns the bed and breakfast like doesn't want to hire her, but he kind of needs her. And so I wouldn't really say this is hate to love. It's just like strangers to like getting to know each other better, like opening up as they go kind of thing. But it's getting really cute as they get to like, right now they're definitely like, okay, we can be friends stage, and it's good. I am tucked into bed, which probably isn't my best move considering I've been tired all day. But I did just finish Act Your Age Eve Brown and I gave it 5 stars. It's definitely my favorite of the series. The only gripe I have with that book is the like third act conflict basically, but other than that it was really good. But it is 6:20 p.m. already. And I'm not going to apologize for what I did on my birthday, but we did end up like going to supper. And then we went and got dessert somewhere, so that wasted a lot of my like afternoon, evening. So I'm a little bit disappointed that I'm not further along. I'm probably gonna get like a half hour in of Kiss of a Demon King before the next rolls happen, and I'm not planning on staying up that late tonight. So tomorrow I'm just gonna really have to do a good job. Hopefully I can get something fairly quick in for that roll because I'm gonna wake up in the morning, probably not before 7, and have like whatever I have of this in another whole book that I'm behind. But it's fine. We'll figure it out tomorrow. This room is a literal disaster. I have like all my unread books off my shelf right now for other reasons that aren't this. But this is about to be a disaster because the next roll drops just dropped, and since I'm trying to combine them, the rolls were first in a series and then chance, which the premise of a chance card is that you would have an equal amount of like books you really want to read and books you're kind of dreading in a stack and pick that way. And so I picked 6, so I picked 3 and 3, and I'm gonna pick them now, and I am potentially making really bad decisions for myself here. I really put books that I don't want to read on this. I recently said that I don't want to really be reading any more fantasy, and I actually pulled 5 fantasy books off my TBR shelf to say like these don't count right now because I don't want to get rid of them, but I also don't want to force myself to read them right now. And I put 3 of them on this list. So I'm gonna make a spinner wheel and spin for them, and I'll tell you what I put on. The ones that I would be interested in reading on and doing for this, I guess, would be Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. This is a historical romance, as well as The Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare, also a historical romance. And then I need to start a reread of The Hunger Games, so I pulled this as well. So those are what would be good options for me to pull. And my options that I'm not so excited to pull, least of which of my bad options is probably The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson. This is something I was really excited for, but like I said, it's just the fantasy of this that is intimidating. I do think it'll be a decently fast pick for a fantasy. But then I picked Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, which is actually a book I previously DNF'd. Not that I wasn't enjoying it, I felt like I was confused, and then I had to go back and restart to like really grasp the concept. So this is something that I just think is going to be a little bit more dense and something that's going to take a lot of concentration. And then lastly, because I apparently don't love myself on my birthday today, I am adding Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. She's chunky, the words are small, and like I said, my brain's not really processing fantasy right now. So let's do it. All right, here is my screen recording. If I get one of these bad books, it most likely will be the last thing I'm attempting for the readathon, but I'm really nervous, so I'm just gonna spin it. My heart is racing. I'm so nervous. Okay. Okay, so I did get one that was like one of my good ones. So I will be reading Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. I really don't know the premise of this. I picked it up at Half Price Books. It's in really good condition, and it was something that was on my want to read, but I added it a very long time ago. So also, this means that I'm reading primarily romance for Bookoplathon, which is also something I'm fine with. Alright, I made it to 9. I did keep reading Kiss of a Demon King after the last roll drop. I got about 80 more pages in, so I'm starting tomorrow with this much left and then this whole book. And that's how far behind I will be in the morning, because I'm not planning on being up before the next roll drop. So, oh well. I'm just barely up in time for the final roll drops right now, and I'm really hoping that I can work in something I'm already in the middle of. And then my plan today basically is to just participate in the sprints all day, like not miss a sprint, and that's how far I'm gonna get. So if I don't finish, I don't finish, but I'm gonna like dedicate my time, you know? So I was trying to only pick books that I owned, and also because of other reasons, everything I was picking, if you haven't noticed, was over 350 pages long. But the next prompts didn't really work for any of the books that I have like right in that range. They were other, which just means any other genre than what you read the most, and then set in the present. So I read thrillers and romance the most. Those would have been easy to find set in the present. But then like my next read genres that I really own are a lot of historical and just like general fiction books. So a lot of those weren't set in the present. So it was kind of hard. So I went to my Goodreads and I did find that I have some shorter things just that I don't own that I could get easily today. And so I decided to go with a nonfiction, and I'm going to be reading Push Out, the Criminalization of Black Girls in Schools, and it's by Monique W. Morris, and I did see that the audiobook is available on Scribd, so that's my plan for the last prompts, and I think potentially I could get through everything then today, considering that's going to be an audiobook. I just finished Kiss of a Demon King. Finally, it's like 10:15 a.m. and this was my pick for the first prompts, so way behind on this, but I did just finish it. I gave it 3 stars, and this was one of the books in this series that I liked. Unfortunately, this series usually lands where my enjoyment is high, but like what I think of the plot and the writing is generally lower. If you don't know what this series is, it's a paranormal romance series. I would classify this almost as erotica. Like the whole thing is very like, there's a lot of sex in these books, but this one was good. They all involve like interspecies in the lore getting together basically, so they all kind of start as enemies to lovers because they are different species. This one was a demon and a sorceress, and it was what it was. I'm 6 books into a series. There's not much more I can say. Like the general overarching plot as the series goes on, you can tell like the plot that's woven throughout the series and not just the individual books, but most of the books you could read as its own thing and they make sense, but there is like a little bit of an overarching thing going on between all of them if you do read them all and in order. But now my plan for the rest of the day going forward is I'm gonna simultaneously read Never Seduce a Scot and the Push Out. I have essentially 8 hours left, so I have marked this into 8 sections, and so within the hour, whenever I read, I think it's like 46 pages a hour I need to read. Once I get to that, then I'm going to listen to the audiobook of the Push Out for the rest of the hour till I get back into this. So we'll just see how far I get. It's all going to depend on how fast of a read this is. Sometimes historicals can be pretty slow, so I better get started. So I am having a really good day. Love that. But this is amazing so far. Basically, I do remember that, like, what I've heard of this, I just don't always remember what historicals are what, because I just buy them. Basically, our main heroine and our hero are from like rival families, and she was previously betrothed to someone who she like describes as evil, like he was not a good man, and then she was in an accident and became deaf, but she kind of pretended to be more injured than she was. And so her family doesn't know like what's wrong with her because she's never indicated that it's just that she's deaf. So she basically did that to get out of the marriage with the previous person she was betrothed to, but now she is in an arranged marriage with our hero, and like I said, they're from like rival families, and so, but he's always kind to her from the beginning, and like he is a good man. Like from the beginning, you know that he's gonna treat her right, even though they're from rival families. Like they're gonna be in a marriage. He says like, I will not mistreat her. It isn't her fault, like the rivalry between the families. So they're married now, and they're getting like closer and closer. And she kind of agrees to the marriage eagerly because she can get away from her family and the previous person she was betrothed to, and like maybe not have to pretend like there's something wrong with her now. So he is quickly realizing that like she's not as incompetent as she was pretending to be. So it's cute so far, and like a lot of their interactions, because she doesn't talk, like she became mute after her accident, is just like him basically talking through things, and the most she does is like nod. So yeah, I'm really liking it so far. But we are getting close to where I may or may not have enough time. I'm right at the halfway point now, and there's 4 hours left in the readathon. So who knows, but I'm really proud of my progress. I have read so much this weekend, so if I don't finish, there was no possible way for me to read more than I did, so I can't be mad about it. I have like 10 minutes left in the readathon, but I just finished Never Seduce a Scot, and it's 5 stars, but I'll talk about it in a little bit. I'm gonna finish by listening to the audiobook, and then Chris said he'd take me to get ice cream, and then I'll come back and wrap everything up. But this was 5 stars. Alright, I made it. I did it. I went and got my celebratory ice cream, but I'm back now. It's like 7:30. But first things first, I do want to quickly talk about my final thoughts on Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. I ended up absolutely loving this. Some of my favorite aspects of this were the cinnamon roll hero, and also he had a sister that was very friendly towards our heroine. I liked their relationship, and just like everything to do with like the rival families and how that played out in the end, I thought was really well done. And this obviously was a fast read. I read it in just a day. I'm not a very fast reader, so still that was very good for me. But unfortunately, I didn't finish a 4th book. I did start the Push Out, and I got through, it's like really long chapters, but I'm gonna check how far I actually got. I got through the introduction and 21 minutes of chapter 1. I am going to continue that tomorrow at work, since it's an audiobook, so look out for my wrap up for March to see my thoughts on that. But that means throughout the readathon, I ended up reading 1,164 pages with Kiss of a Demon King by Cressley Cole at 417 pages. I gave this 3 stars. I had Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. This was 375 pages. I gave this 5 stars. And then Never Seduce a Scot was 372 pages, and I gave this 5 stars. So I had 2 5-star reads, which is like amazing. I haven't been very lucky with my 5-star reads this year, and I just love this readathon. I'm gonna participate in it every time. I love it that much. So I'm hoping, Becca mentioned that she may be doing it again in July, a 48-hour round. So fingers crossed that happens. But now I need some sleep. I've deprived myself this weekend. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I know I've been a little incoherent probably and didn't describe anything well at all, but that's just the journey. But thank you for spending some time with me today, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!